Hi, I'm Tony, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make my sweet potato and black bean tacos from plantbasedonabudget.com. We're going to start with 4 sweet potatoes today, and you want them to be on the smaller side so that they don't take a long time to bake. And I'm going to do it the conventional way. I'm going to wrap each of them in aluminum foil, bake on 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 40 minutes, but if you don't want to wait that long, you can also microwave them. And what I do when I microwave them is I take a fork and I puncture it all over and I get all of my anger and aggression out, and then I put them in a microwave safe bowl or plate wrapped in a, maybe not wrapped, but draped with a damp paper towel. And you're gonna do that at 4-minute increments until they are nice and tender on the inside. And you can use your same fork to puncture it again to make sure it is nice and tender. So let's start the way I'm gonna do it today, which is how it's written in the directions below. And that is, take some aluminum foil, just some standard aluminum foil, and wrap each of them completely with the aluminum foil. And we're gonna keep repeating the process until it's finished. Okay, I've got my 4 sweet potatoes here, and I'm gonna do mine in the toaster oven so that it uses less energy. I'm gonna put this on my very stained and well-loved toaster oven baking sheet. And I'm gonna put them just like this. And I'm gonna stick them in there again at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for about 30 to 40 minutes. While the sweet potatoes are baking, I'm going to get started on the bean mixture that's gonna go inside the tacos. I'm gonna start with a little bit of oil. We're looking for a neutral oil, about a tablespoon. And you can use any type of oil you want. We're doing it over medium-high heat. You're gonna give it a minute to warm up. Also, if you can, use a pot with a lid so that when everything is simmering, you can keep all of the heat inside. If you don't have one, that's totally fine. You can just put a big pan or another pot on top and it'll work the same. Once it's heated, add in your onion. I'm using a diced medium onion, but you can also use a diced white onion if you want. And if a red onion is the only one you have, that's fine too. Give the onions a stir. And we're gonna saute them for about 3 minutes until they start to look tender. We want them to look translucent. If you want, you can also toss in some minced garlic. I would add in 2, 3, 4, 5 cloves if you want a garlicky taco. While the onions are still sauteing, I'm gonna add in some paprika. If you only have smoked paprika, that works too. And I'm gonna do a teaspoon. Then I'm gonna do some ground cumin. Also, how do you say it? I go back and forth between cumin or cumin. Let me know in the comments if you say it a particular way. I've been known to mix my words, so I'm trying to think. I don't know if you watch my friends over at Make It Dairy Free, but we were hanging out one time and I cannot remember the word. I'm gonna ask them, but they were like, coupon. I kept on going back between coupon and coupon, and they were like, which one? So you'll have to let me know how you say cumin or cumin. Give your herbs a stir in the onions, and I'm also gonna add in some Mexican oregano. I'm adding in half a teaspoon. And I got this at Walmart. It's in a bag. I think the brand is called El Mexicano. And it's very inexpensive, maybe about $1 for the whole bag. Maybe $1.50. Inexpensive, and they have a lot of different spices, including this one, Mexican oregano. Stir it in. The aroma smells so good. I need to stop making these videos when I'm hungry. I'm gonna add in some adobo sauce. I'm getting it from these chilies in this can, and I'm doing about 1/2 teaspoon. If you want to add in a little more, actually I'm going to do a full teaspoon, and if you want more flavor, you're welcome to do the same. Stir it in. It's got a nice little whiff of spice. Okay, now we're going to add in our beans. I'm doing 2 cans of black beans. You can also swap out for pinto if that's what you have, or whatever bean. It's totally fine. It'll taste delicious. And if you are cooking your own beans from scratch, use 1.5 cups per can, so a total of 3 cups. I've drained and rinsed these cans already. Add in 1/2 cup of water and stir. Get everything well mixed in there. Turn the heat to high, and when it starts to boil, cover it with a lid and bring it to a simmer. I'm gonna leave it simmering on very low heat until my sweet potatoes are done, which I think they have about 20 minutes left. I just pulled my sweet potatoes out of the oven and I let them cool for about 10 minutes so that I could handle them. And I'm gonna remove them from the tray. And I'm gonna unwrap each of them. I can already feel that they are perfectly tender. I just checked each of them, and the 2 thinner ones are perfectly tender, but the thicker ones require a little bit more time in the oven. You can also throw them in the microwave, which I think I might do. I'm gonna poke each of them for ventilation and pop them in the microwave for about 4 minutes to see how that goes. I just pulled out my thicker potatoes from the microwave, and 3 minutes did the trick. I am going to let them cool, so I'm going to start with the thinner ones first. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice my sweet potatoes. You'll see the skin will peel right off. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put them in a bowl. I'm going to scoop them into a bowl where I will mash them up. If a little skin gets in there, that's totally fine. And if you like skin, that's fine too. There are a lot of nutrients in the skin, so I don't blame you. Then we're gonna move on to the next one. If you don't feel comfortable with the knife, do this on a cutting board. I'm just saving an extra dish. So I'm gonna very gently press through the skin, open it up, and scoop it out. And if it's too hot, you can wait a little bit longer. Mine is just at a point where it feels comfortable. And I'm gonna keep repeating the process until all of them are done. This one is a little bit hot, so I'm gonna cut it up directly on the tin foil, which is on my cutting board, and let that steam come out because it's holding so much heat from when I microwaved it just minutes ago. If you're always trying to prevent food waste, you can be like my husband. He would probably throw these potato skins in a smoothie or something. He's really good about using the whole plant. I like to keep a compost bin right beside me. You can keep it on the table next to you or right beside you on the ground, but it just prevents me having to make multiple trips while I'm in the middle of cooking. Now I'm gonna use my fork to mash the sweet potato until it's all smooth. I'm now wishing that I used a deeper bowl, but I don't want to dirty another dish, so I'm committed. I'm gonna stick to this bowl and it's gonna work out and everything will be fine. I might make a mess, probably a bigger mess than if I had just switched the bowl, but as I mentioned, I'm committed. Another thing that you can do is you could toss this all in a food processor to make it faster. You can, if you're using a deeper bowl, you can use an immersion blender or a hand mixer to get it very, I don't want to say creamy, but well combined, very mashed. That's what we're going for. I might be done. You can make it as mashed as you'd like, but this is good enough for me. I'm hungry. This is our dinner. Okay, so I'm gonna set it aside and I'm going to start assembling the tacos. I've already heated up some tortillas and I put them in my basket, my tortilla basket. I only did 3, so it's kind of ridiculous that I'm using my big giant tortilla basket. Usually I do it when I'm serving people breakfast or a dinner, but it's so cute. Had to. What I did was I put them directly on the fire. I have a gas stove in my kitchen, so I just laid them there, and that's how I grew up eating them. My mom, I used to joke with her that she had, my mom and my grandma, they'd put their hands, it seemed, directly in the fire and just go back and forth. Maybe Mexican people have developed really thick skin, but I used tongs because I'm afraid of burning my fingers. And if you're afraid of cooking it on fire, I don't recommend you trying. I recommend you instead putting it on a skillet and heating them up that way. Another way to do it, if you're doing a whole batch of them, is to put them in tin foil, and when you're cooking your sweet potatoes, you can toss those in at the end so that they can warm up in a big batch. So I'm gonna keep them like this. Actually, I'm gonna show you on a plate with one first. Then I will show you what they look like with multiples. Okay, so I'm gonna start with my sweet potato filling. And I'm gonna add it right there. And I'm gonna put it directly in the middle. If you wanna eat it more like a tostada, that's fine too. You can even use store-bought tostadas. And then I'm going to put on some of my bean mixture, which smells delicious. I'm gonna add on a little store-bought pico de gallo. And I got this from Sprouts. You can make it yourself. I can include a recipe if you'd like to try yourself. And these avocados were 50 cents at Walmart, so I had to scoop them up. I'm just gonna cut up my avocado. Again, if you are afraid of cutting it directly in your hand, you can use a cutting board. Knives can be very dangerous if you're not comfortable. Then I'm gonna pop some out with my spoon, like that. Add a little cilantro. My cilantro was a bit wilted, but that's okay. It's gonna be fine. It'll be delicious. Add on a little lime juice. Looks so good. Cannot wait to eat this. My tacos are now all finished and ready to be eaten, which makes me very excited. And before I go, I wanted to let you know that this is a great meal prep option because both the beans and the potatoes can be frozen. And so when you are finishing up work or coming home after a long day from doing anything, you can whip this up pretty quickly, especially if you're prepping the garnishes in advance as well. I would wait on the avocado so it doesn't turn brown, but everything else can be chopped in advance. I'm gonna drop the printable recipe down below, and I'll also make sure to include the tools I used as well. And if you like this, please give me a subscribe, a thumbs up, and leave me a comment if you decide to make this. I love hearing from you. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. Also, my husband just informed me that he wants mushrooms on his, so he is sauteing some up, and he decided to eat his as a bowl instead of as tacos. So I wanted to show you how I simply made it into a bowl instead of tacos.